There we go. Sorry about that, guys. Let me rewind. So basically, what I was saying is this isn't something we've played in a long, long time. I think this was us kind of updating the list. Um, we were thinking about biomancers, for example, Nabons, and some silly, wonderful things. But this is a more updated list. This one we updated just the other day for. This would have been 2018, so we haven't even looked at it in 2019. But this might be more updated. I mean, there's even like cutesy things you could do if you're playing the Trinket Mage package. You could pair the Staticaster with, um, let's see, Basilisk Collar, all sorts of cute things like that you could do. Um, would that be a good idea? I don't know. But I'll go ahead and screenshot this for you so you have a more updated list to play around with. Just things to think about. no. We missed our opponent. It's okay. We're just finishing up. This was actually a really poor... What we're finishing up tonight, let me give you a URL, is we're playing the Grixis Waste Not Living End thing. One of your favorite decks. Alright, so we are just playing for testing at this point because I think this was a competitive league, so yeah, we're at the point where we're just playing for fun, so we can let our opponents know that. Yeah. Speaking of fun, ooh, come here, you. Why do you do this to me, Moto? Alright, this hand's pretty bad, right? But it's going to be different because of Burning Inquiry. And we're just playing for funsies at this point. You guys know me, I don't like giving up, even if we have a league that's, case most likely ad nauseum, even if we have a league that's going poorly, I still kind of like to play it out. Well, I hope this draws us into some action. Well, rip. I think we found our lands, chat. I think we found them. Now, Brutality's fine in this matchup. We may want to not just fire this off immediately. We may want to wait. Well, I guess we don't get to wait. Pentad Prism. We don't get to wait. Might as well escalate. Yes, so tonight I wanted to play, okay, Pact and Spoils. We'll take Spoils. So they actually don't have a ton going on. They need a top deck as well, which is good news for us. We might even just suspend this Wheel of Fate. I'm worried, obviously, that the Wheel of Fate would draw them into the pieces they're missing. But, I mean, we could also just hardcast this 2/2 flyer. Alright. We have a clock. They have Unlife. Now, I definitely really don't want a Wheel of Fate for our opponent. See, that's the thing. Like, I could cast the Wheel of Fate now because we have the expertise. But if I were to do that, I don't think it's a great plan. So, you know, this is one of those situations where, like, one of the core functions of our deck, the whole Wheel of Fate package, just feels so bad, man. Like, we're not going to make it. He's going to find ad nauseum way before we beat him down. But we just can't afford to cast a Wheel of Fate and draw them all the sooner. Yes, go here. Go to my Stream Decker. Oh, we're just dead. I want to see what version he is, though. Look at us thinking we could win a game of Magic. But yeah, so go there. Go to my Stream Decker. You'll find lots of different lists, some spicier than others. Tonight I actually prepared another list for us just to look at, just to think about. It was like a Grixis Dragons, I think. Let's see if I have it saved. It was not saved. Or if it was, I renamed it and it's in a different section now. Which happens. Aha! Just like a really bad Grixis Dragons. Using some of the technology that a recent Grixis Control did very well with. Obviously, me stripping down some of the things that probably made that deck successful to sneak in some fixers to cast like a Niv Mizzet. But yes, the idea was to maybe thanks to there being some reasonable dragons printed, we could actually cast this card. And we really should have even one more dragon in the list, like before I start adding like a mean deck Chalice. Like we could put this back in the sideboard, and then we could add a second Niv. Because really, to cast two Slumgar Scorns, we probably would need 7 of this effect. We only have 6. That's pretty heavy, and then you got the basic swamp, and you've got these fields. So at the same time, I think it'd be pretty difficult to pull off this card. We've tried to pull off Slumgar's Scorn before, but I just thought maybe they'd finally printed enough dragons that are theoretically modern playable. But that's debatable. Certainly debatable. But yes, we're dead, so let's go back to the game. So we just wanted to see what version he is. And 1, 2, 3, full set of Pact the Negations. Lab Man, of course, in the main board. He is a double Spoils of the Vault build. Triple Spoils of the Vault. I like it. I like it. He knows what he's doing. He's come to combo. Triple Spoils of the Vault. How would we ever beat that? Well, Nauseam actually really needs to make their land drops. We don't need the Fairy Macabres. Counter Squall is great. We want another one. We want to be able to kind of pull apart their hand. We shouldn't need the expertise, except for the fact that this is an enabler, but that's a little bit too slow. I still want these Mausoleum Secrets because they're extra copies of Counter Squall. They're extra copies of Living End, but we may just not want this. This is also kind of a matchup where I'm not excited about Wheel. I mean, we still want all of our enablers for Living End, I imagine. Surgical, because we're going to be attacking their hand. Maybe we can take something. Explosives, I mean, that can hit their mana. This can hit Unlife. Other than that, it doesn't seem worth it. If anything, I'd rather just still run maybe Echoing Truth. Echoing Truth can bounce Leyline. And since we're going to be going after their hand, I think that's probably the better plan. What about Cairn Wanderer? What card? Oh, there you go. Yeah, the Changelings. I am running a Changeling spell, Nameless, so you get up to, with 2 Nivs, 4 Nicol Bolas, and like a Nameless, you get up to 7. Would a 7 to 2 split work? Because you would almost never ever want to see the Slumgar Scorn without a dragon, so that a ratio like that might actually work. But it'd be a cute list at best, you know. I'm not sitting here trying to, you know, pitch to you guys that this is gonna be a better take on Grixis. Oh, we definitely snapped this off. It's double Counter Squall. Let's hold this Burning Inquiry. Oh wow. Let's hold the Burning Inquiry just because our hand's solid, and really we only want to be casting this should we find Waste Knot. Waste Knot's really our plan B. It's not that effective against a deck like Ad Nauseam where, I mean, yes, it's a draw engine, but we've played games before where we drew lots and lots of cards off of our Waste Knots, but it never presented we never presented any sort of threat, and it just didn't work. Something to think about. I also need to get into red. Secrets, but no black creatures. Now, secrets can always find Living End even if I haven't found my creatures yet. So we could still fire this off in the end step. Just so we don't have to worry about it later. Which I'm totally fine with. And I really like the fact that the card can do that. Can always just go ahead and grab up our combo piece But we're going to need to find some, like, I really don't feel safe against Nauseam even with a single counter squall. Of course, Pact the Negation, so we're definitely going to want double counter squall. It's kind of incredulous for us to have not seen a single cycling creature. Hey, what's up, Rogue? How do I feel about Vanifar for Kiki? Yeah, Vanifar is kind of neat. Vanifar is kind of neat for Kiki. I probably should just go after the Lotus Bloom, right? Because they were missing land drops. Very possible I should just go after that. Another secrets. I just don't know if we're gonna find any of our creatures. I mean, granted, I could Burning Inquiry next turn. Another reason to not really fight over the Lotus Bloom is we know he's got another Lotus Bloom. In fact, he has another Lotus Bloom. So we know that the mana's coming. It's not really something I think worth fighting over. But we may be eventually forced to start inquiring and just hoping to find some of our creatures. I swear we have creatures in this deck. I promise you. There are creatures in our Living End deck. I don't know where they are. See, I don't even necessarily like fighting over the Unlife. Well, this is not good. I swear we have win conditions. I promise. I promise. Well, he doesn't have the Pact. Alright, theoretically that's 2 ad nauseum down. Oh, no, we're just dead. Well, we tried, chat. But we just never got anything going. Alright, let's play our last match. And then we can move on to the next deck. I actually have a really cool deck I want to share with you guys tonight. Not that this wasn't cool, this was one of the brew-off decks that was submitted, and because we couldn't give the other prize that I wanted to give away, we ended up just deciding that we were going to play all the different brew-off decks. So this will be the first. There's 2 more to go after this. We've got a grindy Abzan deck to do. That was one of the other winners, for example. I believe that would be next. I think that was second place. This was first place. This was for equal amounts of spice and creativity. This was the Electrodominance submission from Drake. Yes, I would like to do... So Evan actually borrowed my list the other day. We'd been talking amongst ourselves to do a blue-white Chalice control. Let's see if I have it here. I hope so, because we're going to be theoretically playing it later. So the Chalice control list, I've changed it quite a bit. It's a bit of a different beast now. We're trying to Miracle Terminus using... just making sure our match didn't pop. Alright, so, oh, we have no pictures on our cards, though. We're missing art on a lot of cards here. I see Teferi's missing a couple other cards. We might just do a simple reboot, between leagues. But I wanted to do a league with that deck. I think that deck's actually really cool because really the only significant cards you give up as a blue-white player, and I know you're sitting there, you're like, well, BrewSpy, those seem really important. I'm not going to disagree, and that was kind of Evan's point. Jeez, I don't know if we can keep this. Technically, it's got some redraw to it. But really the most significant card that you give up, obviously, is Path to Exile. Spell Snare is pretty hit or miss. I wouldn't say it's necessary these days in the control decks. Now, Evan, of course, is also kind of off the control. These days, he's kind of off the control. Maybe I should have cycled the Architects and the Street Wraith there. His opponent might be inclined to take one of those. I have not done a Phage deck, Stasis Guy. Was that a SpeedBrew? If it was, I need to get on that. We've got a lot of SpeedBrews. I have a SpeedBrew that I really need to do. It was a tier 3 SpeedBrew for standard from Amish Robots. That's kind of on the top of my list at the moment. As far as SpeedBrews go. Hey, what's up, Jade? Yeah, I'm kind of settled into my new apartment and everything. Good to see you guys. All right, let's cycle this. Ooh, Waste Not. Yes. Any format you like? Wait until... ideally, I don't like to know what the build-around cards are or even the format. I like to know as little as possible, just for me, just because it makes things exciting. I will say you can message it to me, though. If you don't think you're going to be able to attend the stream, for example. Well, I'm sad there's a Bob. Does that make sense? So in other words, like what Amish Robots did, we've been talking on Twitch. I can go ahead and add you. That's just to get around the whole Whispers impediment. But so next turn we could go living end this board. So we got the Talaria West, 2 blue sources. So we could go get living end, cycle horror, do the whole wham bam jam, so to speak. Phage with the orb. Oh, interesting. Okay. Well, there are other things you're going to be putting in that deck if you're playing stuff to stop triggers from happening. You'll probably be playing the 2-drop 7/7, I imagine. Like, you're probably going to want other cards that abuse that card in your deck other than just reanimating things. That's just my 2 cents. All right, so let's do the thing. Just in case we hit like a like we could have hit like a Street Wraith there and get to do it again. Let's use it on our opponent. We'll Fate Seal. Opponent has that enough. I understand. They're on the play this time. I don't think I really want Fulminator Mage. When it comes to fighting Jund, it's not easy. This is not an easy matchup. Let's see. Kolaghan's Command is kind of just a nice all-around card. Could hit a Bob, return a Street Wraith, cycle it immediately. We're going to lean probably a little bit on our Waste Knots in this matchup, I would imagine. Jund might be another deck that we don't really want to have this many wheels. in against. I mean, brutality's fine. You can grab a surgical. You can kill a Bob. These, actually, he's playing Rock. He's not playing Jund. My apologies. We saw a field. He's playing the Rock. So if he's playing Rock, what do I want? I am worried that he's going to have Black Leyline. I guess we'll put in the Echoings. So, I mean, that right there would be a 60, bringing in the Colligan's Command, the Echoing Truths. Colligan's Command, of course, could hit some of their hate that's beyond... I mean, if they're gonna be doing Calidus, I mean, there's not much I can do besides perhaps Fatal Push. Could cut a wheel for that. Fairy Macabre's relatively important in the matchup because if I'm going to Living End, I don't want them getting back some of their threats. I don't know if I want this many, though. Still might be nice to make room for some of these other pieces. And again, a way that we can fight through their Bobs and also their Surgicals would be Brutality. So something to think about. I think this card's actually fine in the matchup. Certainly give it like a B, B+. I mean, maybe we just want Wheel to be a tutor target for Talaria West. Because it's going to be a little bit situational when it's very good. It'll be very good if we can have a Waste Knot. So actually, let's do that. Let's keep it a couple copies. But yeah, tonight I've really been wanting to play. It's not that I want to play the blue-white Chalice control just to prove Evan wrong. He had some not so much success with the deck. He played it. He played an earlier version that I'd been working on of the archetype. So I'll keep. We're on the draw and we have a cycle, and we have one of the cards that we want in the matchup. No Leyline, so that's good. Probably takes my Waste Knot here. Could also see him getting aggressive and taking. You almost certainly take Waste Knot, right? Here? If you're my opponent? What do you guys think they take? I imagine that's what they're thinking right now. Like, do I take the Living End? Do I take the Enabler, which is the Electric Dominance? Because I have multiple things to combo with it. They might take Dominance even though I don't have any red sources yet. Yeah, they take the Dominance. Okay. I was kind of trying to think about, what they were probably thinking. But still, like, Waste Knot is quite excellent in a matchup like this. I think this is kind of a cool engine. Trying to take all of our Wombo combos. We should let them know, by the way, that what was their record? Moto didn't tell us. Oh, Zuza is 0-1. By the way, just playing for testing and fun. Yeah, just letting them know. All right, so. Oh boy. Really need to draw land or another cycler there. We did not. We do have a game 3. Even if we just never get off the ground. It's hard to want to mulligan against a Jund deck, or Rock. Scoos? That's not good. Just trying to think about how we would get back into this match. Probably start with Waste Knot. I mean, between an end step Echoing Truth and then a Colligan's Command, like we could take out the Scavenging Ooze. Um, but that would take some time. And we had no guarantee of third land, so I don't wanna start to do that, yet. We're in trouble. Interesting that he eats his own fulminator, just I guess trying to get us dead as soon as possible, perhaps, is their thinking. Cycle down to 11. I don't see us getting off the ground here. But now that we're on the play, we can fulminate them. One fulminator deserves another. I mean, as important, the macabres are pretty important. Like, because when we living end, being able to make sure that the coast is clear is it's pretty important. Oh, I got your message, Twerk and Rogue. Okay, this is a mulligan. This is a keep. Expertise, living end. Kind of want to top that. It's okay. We have our plan B in hand. It's A-okay. And if we can work off of our basics, that'd be ideal, just due to what the opponent showed us. Now I don't really want to draw the Henny's expertise, just because there's leyline. So maybe what we'll do is we'll fetch that away and try to, because we would need to see Echoing Truth first. Unfortunately, opponent gets to take the Inquiry here. It's okay, we have more copies of that in the deck, and we've left in the Tutorable Wheel. I mean, maybe we don't have the luxury of not getting hit by a Fulminator Mage. It's very possible we just need all our colors off these two lands. Opponent didn't reply to what we said. So if it looks like we're going to win this third game, we can just scoop. Ever since they changed how chat works on Magic Online, I've noticed that a lot of players don't pay any mind to the chat whatsoever. So that's their prerogative. That's fine. But I was trying to tell the opponent we're just playing for funsies. So this looks to be ooze. But yeah, Twerk and Rogue, I'm actually on a little bit of a backlog with the SpeedBrews, so bear with me. Yeah, it looks like we might not be winning this anyway. Tarmogoofy. If they do have Fulminator Mage, because it's Blood Crypt, we wouldn't know what we need to get off of the... ooh, okay. Interesting. So, the Echoing Truth could change things. Could release us from the clutches of the ley line. Could bounce the ooze. But, I mean, since the Double Inquisition, I mean... the possibility of living ending is very much gone. It would take some time to rebuild that. And the opponent's on 3 lands. It's not inconceivable that, they get to the 4th land, they just cast the ley line again. It's very possible that this Echoing Truth just gets used to buy us time. But yeah, hopefully you guys are excited about the blue-white list. It's kind of an interesting take on blue-white, kind of using some of the stuff that you'll see out of these mono-red Chalice decks or blue-white, red-white Chalice decks in the past. So we're just using the cast outs and the hieroglyphics as a way to cantrip into the terminus. To cycle into the terminus, I should say. Because you want to be doing that during your opponent's turn. So that's kind of the big thing with at least like a Miracles build. When you go into Chalices, it's not even so much Path. I mean, obviously Path, but also you're giving up Path. Excuse me, you're giving up Opt. And Opt is pretty important for enabling you to... yeah, we'll reboot Moto, see if I can't get some of those card images. Okay, so I get to buy a little bit more time with the Echoing Truth. Or I would obviously, bounce the Goyfs at this point. So Horror. Colligan's Command to take out the Ooze. And with Triple Waste Knot, I mean, it's very possible that he'll have land to pitch. Looks like a Fulminator Mage. Oh, that's too bad. Yep. So yeah, I like Echoing Truthing here because we're taking, that's a pretty big wallop. Admittedly, I wish I knew if we were going to hit that red source. I don't know. This buys us quite a bit of time. Takes him a while to redeploy those Goyfs and everything, and wow. That's nice. We do it now because we don't want him to grow the Ooze in response. So he's always got Goyf, one unknown. We're hoping the one unknown isn't land. Okay, it was a trophy, so we get to draw 3 cards. So they didn't want to give us 3 zombies. They wanted to let me draw 3 cards. What matchups will Chalices help? So Chalice is kind of interesting, right? So there's some matchups where it's very, very strong, right? Your Storms, your Burns, those are like on the top of the list, I'd say. Irish, maybe Infect. A few other combo decks to add to that list. Now, what are the matchups where it's weak, right? Decks that are like ours that have a bunch of different sized converted mana costs is where it's going to be weak, Irish. Where it only cuts them off of maybe 1 to 2 cards is definitely where I'd say it's weak. What do we want to do here? I guess cycle. Chalice could be really good against Phoenix. Yeah, I could see that. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and pitch that it's better than like a traditional blue-white. I also think that blue-white's a little on the weak side just in general at the moment, Irish. It's more of a thought experiment. I'm not going to sit here and try to defend it. It's something that Evan did try. He did try it for me. I feel bad that it went very unsuccessfully for him. So I figured, why don't I try my hand at a different build of the deck and see if I can get it working, was kind of my thought process. We need another red for this Electro Dominance. Just bouncing these Goyfs. He does get to redeploy one of the Goyfs, though, at the end, which is unfortunate. It's not like this Yeheni's expertise is going to help us. Like, we'll need a living end, I think. What do we need? We need, like, a way to activate our waste knots, or we'd need... Because, like, we're also just dead to the treetop. It's not just finding it out to this Goyf. So, we're just dead here, it looks like. Can't kill... Can't really do much of anything. But, good games all around. I mean, this is an interesting deck. This, like I was saying earlier, this is one of the decks that was submitted through the Brew Off. Let me reboot my Moto, see if we can get pictures, and I can show you how my take on the deck is a little bit different. than what Evan was playing. Again, I'm not trying to pick a fight or anything weird like that. Like Evan knows that I have been working on the deck as well. He had some not so much success with the deck and discarded it, which albeit might have been a little hasty on his part because I actually think the deck is really neat. Because I don't think it's an argument of what decks is the Chalice good against, right? I see your point, Irish. I think more so the question is how important to the blue-white archetype is having our own CMC ones. And I think at the top of the list is Path, and I think right below that is Opt. But I definitely see your viewpoint. I definitely see how you're thinking. You're thinking, well, Sean, why would we ever want to do this in the first place? And I hear you, but I've actually spent quite a bit of time working on this list, and I'd like to give it a whirl. I'm not going to sit here and claim that it's good because I haven't even had a chance to play it myself. Chalice is evil. Chalice is very good in Legacy. I think it's medium well in Modern. Like if we were to rate it as a stake wellness level, right? How well do you want your Chalice? I think that there's definitely some matchups that it's crippling. There are other matchups where it's pretty underwhelming. So, and I actually there were Thirst for Knowledges in this list originally. I cut them just to make room for more 1-mana cyclers, to make room for other tools that I think might be neat. I'm actually trying some Absorb. I'm trying main deck Timely, things of that sort. Format is very aggressive at the moment, so I don't mind doing things like... I mean, just being a Terminus deck gives you some nice distinct advantages against some of these Dredges and Phoenix decks that people are wanting to play at the moment. So I think that there are components of this deck that are actually really well positioned, and I think there are other parts that we'll just have to smooth out the wrinkles, so to speak. So let's give Moto a second to think and hopefully load those pictures this time. Yes, it did. And I'd like to actually eventually add the new Planeswalker to this sideboard. So let me use Card Hoarder at the moment. By the way, if you didn't know, this stream is sponsored by them. Fantastic what they do for us. It is indeed fantastic what they do for us. Allowing us to borrow cards to stream with has been huge for me, huge for the stream. Let me kind of curve this so you see what's going on. Those are white negates. That's fascinating. Blue Celestial Purge. So it looks like this is all ready to go. We just need to give back the previous deck. Doesn't take long at all to do so. We just need to give back. We need to give back. Sometimes you just got to give back. And it's very prompt to do it now. I really like how quick the loan service is. I'll admit I haven't used any of their competitors, or I guess their one competitor, to be perfectly honest. So I don't actually personally have something to compare it to, but I like how fast it is now. I mean, like, boom, we're out of our previous loan. Now I can get us into our new shiny new deck. And I'm not going to change a single card. I've tinkered with this a lot. And not to sound rude, even if you guys have some suggestions, I'm open to the suggestions. I always want to hear your suggestions. I don't want to change a single card for the sake of us actually playing some more Magic tonight, A, and B, the fact that I've spent a lot of time tinkering with it off stream. I had to find some way to entertain myself while, things were getting set up with the new apartment, this and that. So I've been chomping at the bit to play something like this with you guys. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm not going to sit here and tell you it's going to be good. I'm not even going to sit here and tell you that it's going to be better than Evan's version that he played. In fairness, the version that Evan played was from me. So poor Evan got to kind of sacrifice his league run for me to learn some things through him, through his mistakes, and through just the deck building mistakes. These are all 2-drops. These are all things that happen in the ones pile. You'll see that we actually have a lot of ones in my take on the deck. There's tapped lands. There's the Terminus, which ideally are 1 mana. The Illuminations are usually being cycled to give us the opportunity to hit a Terminus during our opponent's turn. Same with these cast outs. That was kind of my same thought process. Also in the late game, giving us an instant speed, remove anything, I think is actually really nice. I added some things like Halo. I just took note of some of the things that Evan got smashed by, and I added some cards to kind of compensate for that. I also noticed that he was having trouble with the clock, so I added some sideboard win conditions, things of that nature. So we'll see how my take on the deck does. Again, I'm not going to claim that it's going to do better. That's not what I'm trying to say. Just want to make that crystal clear. You know, when you have two streamers working on a deck, that's always the question. Well, BrewSpy, are you claiming you're going to do it better? No. That's not what I'm claiming. Nope. But yeah. I tried a lot of different builds of this, by the way, this jank, because it's a Miracles deck. I tried Triple Jace. I tried Temporal Mastery. I cut a lot of these kind of cutesy, quite frankly, cutesy cards. Let me just change the numbers here a little bit. Yep, 2 of those. 3 of these. Nope, 2 of those. Just trying to get the numbers right. Excuse me. Anyway, how are you guys doing? I know it's been a little bit of time since we've come together to do a little bit of streaming. How are you guys, doing? How's life? Hope you guys are doing okay. It's weird that these are like different colored. Yeah, it's bizarre. Bizarro world. Now it's interesting. Now it's faster for me to get out of a deck, and it takes longer for me to get into one, which was the opposite problem we had before. Get some Prairie Streams. Oh man, Jade, you have a lot to... Great when you get to see some cool brews like this. Let me catch up on everything you're saying, Jade. It's important. From the other place, it takes about a minute. That's not that slow. That's pretty quick. So they're pretty comparable services. That's fair. I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and preach that clearly Card Hoarders is better just because I'm sponsored by them. I will make you aware of them because I'm sponsored by them, and I appreciate what they do for me. But I'm not gonna sit here and claim to know something I don't necessarily know. It's a good way to. I know, 4 Rest in Peace. I know, but the card is really that good. Let's cut those. Not playing that card. It's really that good. I almost wish I had a sideboard Timely, though. And if I was to make it happen, I cut the Geist. Geist is kind of a placeholder, to be perfectly honest. Like, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I do think I might have... I'm not going to count Spirit Guide. These are probably the cutest things in my sideboard. I've seen people moving towards multiple Baneslayers, by the way. I've seen like double Baneslayer, single Lyra lately. It's not something that's crazy. And then that gives us room for a sideboard Timely reinforcements. And I also kind of would like to have like another negate out of the sideboard. But that being said, I think this is actually a better composition. I think you want to clearly have sideboard win conditions just because of the clock on Moto. Like game 1, I'm trying to go super long and just win with Colonnades and Planeswalkers. Search for Escanta. Like my win conditions are pretty sparing. Post board, we're trying to win with Angels and some Quellers. I'm not even playing Vendilion Click in this list. Not that I think Click is bad. I think Click is much better in your Jeskai kind of style of control. And I do think I want to make sure that we always have the Rest in Peace against the decks that it's good against. There's just very many graveyard decks where Rest in Peace just reigns supreme that I'm okay if I see it a second time. I think it's that strong at the moment in the metagame. So our sideboard's kind of clearly divided into answers and more win conditions. You could argue that the tokens off of the timely is more or less a win condition. And we could be playing things like Sphinx's Rev. We could be playing some of these other cards like the one that makes a bunch of soldiers instant speed. I don't think that's what I want to do with the deck. I think I like this configuration. I don't want to change much at all. Just make sure I've got all these cards in there. So yeah, we'll go second Baneslayer. I think the card is just pretty absurd right now. It's quite well positioned. And I'm fine playing some well positioned cards. You know, we don't always need to specifically be a brew or try to be special little snowflake. I'm fine with playing a card that I just feel is strong. I'm okay with playing cards that I feel that way about. What's my opinion on the new mulligan rule? I think it'll change a lot of things. Maybe not necessarily for the better, Melfina. I think it's going to change, potentially could even change how ley lines work, which is maybe not a bad thing. Maybe not a bad thing. I say that because, I mean, it's kind of sad that they're going to invalidate a whole type of card, potentially, you know, from the Eternal format, but that's their prerogative. And if they think it's going to improve the game, that's good, I suppose. You know, I hear many people. The problem is you've got a whole culture of players that are coming from games like other card games out there. You know, like your Pokemons, your Yu-Gi-Ohs, your Hearthstones. And they're coming to Magic, and I think a lot of the reasons why they're making these mulligan changes is they're trying to make the game a lot less feel bad for some of these newer players or players that are coming from a different game. I wouldn't even necessarily call them newer players. They know how to play card games. They just have to get used to how Magic is a bit different and works. You know, instant speed, operating on your opponent's turn, those things of that nature. I do firmly believe that it's no surprise to me. It's no, it's not like it's a hidden secret that's, in my opinion, why they're considering such a significant change to the mulligan rule. It's in an attempt to further combat mana feel bad. You know, I mean, moments in Magic. They're trying to do away with it without getting rid of. I mean, lands are so fundamental to the game. You know, they're not going to change that. But if they can keep tweaking the mulligan rule to where they almost eliminate mana screw, I think that's their goal. Which is that a bad thing? I mean, yeah, they're making more and more significant changes to the game. So my opinion is, I guess in a long drawn out BrewSpy kind of way, I don't necessarily think it's a good thing because I think that it fundamentally changes the game beyond any of these other changes that they've made in the past. Like the scry rule, I think is small enough that it didn't make a significant. I'm just making sure I have the right count of cards to update. I don't think that's fundamentally changing of the game. I do think that this change would. Maybe fundamentals of strong choice of words. It's just, I think it would really change the shape of how, like, the beginning of games happens. If that makes sense. All right, so this is, I'm just trying to get a card count. 40, 53, perfect. All right, let's check out. All right, Usuni wants to know, how did I come to 2 absorbs over something more like Negate or Spell Pierce? Spell Pierce is a pretty easy answer. It's not like there's Flusterstorm in Modern. Although if Flusterstorm does get printed for the Modern format, then I actually really like it. I wanted something that... I'm actually really happy with my counterspells are at in the deck. I wanted something... actually, I think these were like the 3rd Cryptic, and then this was, I think, another removal spell. I wanted something that was both a counterspell, but also kind of gave us a little bit of cushion against some of the hyper-aggressive decks. And I think Absorb does that really well. I don't think... I think these would be considered for like Spell Snare or 3rd Cryptic if this was just a different take on the deck. If that makes sense. And I know it's going to be awkward occasionally, just like the cryptics are awkward and the verdict is awkward, just because we've got a couple colorless lands, right? We got fields, we've got gemstone. I tried to minimize on the colorless mana as much as possible if I'm going to consider still playing cryptics and absorb. But that's kind of my conclusion there, is Ginny, is when I was breaking apart the deck and kind of seeing where it kind of fell short for Evan. Or like some of the more greedy. I mean, we have plenty of greedy color spells, right? You could argue that all these different spells right here relatively color greedy for a deck to be playing. A red source and some colorless sources. These 10 cards, obviously the hardest to cast in the deck, and then out of the board, it's going to be. I wouldn't say that the Angels are all that hard to cast. I wouldn't say anything out of the sideboard worries me, but definitely these 10 cards do worry me. Does that make sense, Uschini? I totally agree with you. I'm not. I hope you understand. I'm not just slapping the absorbs in here just because I want to test this card in a blue-white deck. Like, no. I think it's there for a reason. I wanted a card that was a little bit lower on the curve than Cryptic, and I wanted something that was both useful against other control or combo, but wasn't completely. We weren't sitting it with our hand, in our hands against some of these hyper aggressive decks, thinking, "Oh God, like we're never going to live long enough to benefit from the card advantage of of a Cryptic." So let's go ahead and get these ordered and let's play. I would like to play it in the same environment as Evan. I think he played in the friendly league. I think he did play his deck in a friendly league. Let me see. We should be good on tickets. We had a very generous donation from Flux the other day. We are still good on tickets. We also have points. Because I have 96 points, it is kind of tempting to play it in the friendly just because it would be free, so to speak. Oh man. This is some interesting promos, huh? I do like the Death Baron. That's kind of cool looking. All right. Bullpeck says, I've had success in my Bant Miracles. So you're playing Bant because you are using the new ramp spell, free Bullpeck, I imagine? I like that. I don't know why. Growth Spiral. There you go. So you're probably green for Growth Spiral. Am I right? I'm sure there are other benefits of being green. Four mana, do 4 damage. Yeah, there you go. Basically what that card does. Let me curve this again. I shouldn't have sorted it. I should have left it the way it was. But hopefully, what's funny, and I'm not trying to point the finger at your typical Miracles take in Modern. They are usually pretty heavy on Jace. Some of them are even on 3 Jace. I'm on 2 in this build in particular. I will say I also have kind of built this in such a way that I'll aim to put Chalice on more than just Chalice on 1. The way that I've constructed this take on the deck, it is something I'll probably also put on 2 in a lot of matchups. Theoretically, I could also put it on 3, and some of our most important cards still work. So let me kind of repeat that. And this is kind of curtailing off. I'm not trying to prove what Irish said is wrong. I haven't played enough games with this deck for me to really say one way or the other if it's correct. I mean, we're at the point. This archetype, in my opinion, is still so very much a prototype. Even the player that had success with the deck, I think it's still very much a prototype. So, I can't sit here and I shouldn't even really be using the phrase success, right? It's such a new concept or a new take on the archetype that I don't really want to say things like that before we've really seen what it can do. We still don't have our cards yet. You're playing some Reclamations. I like it. Yeah, that's sweet. I like the idea. I like the idea of Bant. I'm playing a Bant, not a Bant. I built. Let's see if I have the list. Oh, Artsy here. Awesome. I built a Bant teachings list, reclamation teachings list, with the help of. I found a list that I liked on MTG Goldfish. I believe I credited the brewer. I hope I did, because I did. I like to be honest. I did not change all that much because it looked like their list was pretty streamlined. That might be a list you're interested in if you're playing Bant already. That could be something that with a couple of cards different, you could be playing that instead. But I appreciate you guys being patient with me to get into to switch in and out of decks. I think this is going to be well worth your wait. I think this is going to be a spicer. I think it's going to be solid. I think this could very well go well. I think this could. Just make sure that our Stream Decker is set to this guy. So real quick, let me just open up Stream Decker. Yeah, exactly. That would be a relatively easy transition for you. I definitely agree. If you guys are ever interested in looking at Brew Spy lists, you just got to go to streamdecker.com and search for me, or you can get there this way. So the Bant Teachings Reclamation, this is the list that I was working on with the help of Shastraman. That would be his Moto username. So basically, you do the Black Splash for flashing back of teachings. There's a couple teachings in this build. Other than that, you're not using the black at all. White gives you sweet, sweet cards. Like, first of all, this is going to be the version of the deck that casts Fracturing Gust the most easily in my opinion, just due to the colors. And you get to run Res in Peace, which is just insane at the moment. Card's very good. This guy had Pulse of the Fields. I haven't played Pulse in years and years. I played Teachings a long, long, long time ago. I really liked this card back then. I love seeing it still maybe have a place in Modern now. So this is the one that returns to your hand if your opponent has more life than you, which will be a lot of the games you play. So this is kind of a cool Teachings target for sure. And you get access to Settle, which is arguably one of the stronger sweepers to search off of Teachings. Obviously, it's a little bit weaker if they know it's coming. But there's some games where we've had 8 mana and we were just like, Teachings Settle. We did do that. You know, you are a rampy deck with the growth spirals. So white gives you other things. Obviously, you get to be a path deck. You get to play secure. So I actually really like this take on the deck. I think that white is quite strong. You get to attack with Colonnade, and then, you know, Reclamation is going to untap your mana. And Colonnade's one of the stronger man lands to be piloting. So lots of cool things about this list. And this list was actually one of the first late game control decks I'd seen playing Memorial. I think that's really cool technology. We'll see how it works in our deck that we're playing right here. I just want to make sure that we're set to the deck we're about to play. So Blue-White Chalice. We did make a couple edits last second, right? I know I said I really didn't want to change anything, but I did. I cut some of the cuter cards in the sideboard. Didn't we? We cut the Geist and the Worship. I think when the new Sarah Planeswalker comes out, it could have a spot. What was it? Timely Reinforcements. And another Baneslayer. I think I'm on 2 Baneslayers. Which maybe in paper I wouldn't bother with, because on Moto your clock is a little bit more of a factor. Or less of a factor, depending on how you think about it. Because you're not sharing a clock. Actually, in paper, maybe it makes more sense to have the extra win conditions. Is that all we changed? I think so. I don't think I changed anything else. I think I just changed the sideboard a little bit. Hey, what's up, Brandio? You gotta argue with me on Kozilek Storm? Yeah. Alright. Let's play. The idea of which one? This deck, Bolsha? It's a Blue-White Miracles with Chalices, basically. It's not trying to be fancy or anything. It's just trying to get the job done. We're trying to cut some of the Burn and the Phoenix decks. I guess I'm happy to list that one as well. But also some of these other, like your Storms, etc. really don't want to see Chalice. Especially Chalice on 2. They don't believe I don't believe they can beat that game 1. Anyway, play points. Let's do it with play points. Just because we had a very generous ticket donation from Flux doesn't mean I want to blow through all those precious tickets, because we have a lot of other decks that I do need to do leagues for from you guys. I know it's selfish of me to do another BrewSpy deck, but this one was, I actually want to maybe send the video to Evan, especially if we have some minor success. Maybe get him reinterested in the archetype. Again, I'm not trying to say that he was wrong or even that he played it wrong. I think that he had some really poor draws, and I think if anything, I failed him because he was using a list that I was working on at the time. So we'll see if we can have more success with the deck than him. Just maybe we get lucky. When you're playing a deck like this, and I think a lot of what happened was he didn't run into a lot of the matchups where the Chalice would be especially strong, and he was drawing a lot of copies of Chalice. Speaking of which, look at my mana. Horrible, right? But I would mulligan that anyway. This is much better. So this is, granted, like, we're going to have to cycle into our action here. And especially if we're up against a deck that the Terminus would be effective. I don't think I should bottom that land. Like, we're a very mana-hungry deck. Like, in a lot of spots I would. Also, that turns on the Glacial Fortress, which we wouldn't be able to do otherwise. So I think that, that's a good idea. Gorgeous Celestial Colonnade, by the way. It's fun to get to play with some of these cards for you guys. Yes, that's the Planeswalker I'm talking about, free Bull Pack. Indeed. So we'll probably wait to cycle these until it's our opponent's turn. And maybe we don't even want to fire off the second Illumination. Cinderglade. Okay, could be most likely from some form of Titan Shift. Almost assuredly it's Titan Shift. Explore. Okay. So this is an opponent where we're just going to fire off both of these because we just need to find some answers. Need to find... I may be nuts if we found the Ruined Halo, but need to find... There's a Mana Leak. Probably won't be relevant. You never know. Stream is no good until we can find... well, we get to field the Valakut here, which I actually kind of want to do. But I do like how these smooth out our deck, even though we're not playing, Serum Visions or Opt, which are normally some cantrips you'll see in the blue-white deck. Like, I like how we're just kind of smoothly going through the deck. Better than you might expect. Which is kind of nice. This gives us another basic, so the Prairie Stream is turned on. We'll cycle another Illumination, just looking for cryptics, etc. Explosives, pretty bad in the matchup. So if they don't cast something we have to Mana Leak, we'll end step the Illumination. If they do cast something, we're hoping that we can tag it with the Mana Leak. Oh my goodness, we get to cast this? Oh, yes. We're doing it. The Ruined Halo! We're doing it, chat! Chat, we're doing it! Oh my gosh, it's so good in the matchup. Oh. Play weird cards. Get rewarded. Do you guys know how insane this is in the matchup? Oh my gosh. This card's absurd in this matchup. Oh, maybe I should have played my Memorial to Genius. That was maybe a mistake. Do they run a Rex Sage? It's very possible. No. I really should have played the Memorial to Genius. I really should have played that last turn because we could be cracking it here. Chalice on 0 stops. I mean, I don't think he's on the packed version. I think he's going to be just like a traditional build. Chalice on 2 would turn off some of my stuff, but it also turns off his explorers. Obviously, not a great matchup for Chalice. I really don't know what I want to set it to. If we set it to 4, then we don't have to worry. Well, we don't worry about Scape Shift anyway. We have Ruined Halo. Trying to think, what build is he going to be? Is he going to be a packed build? Is that even like a popular build of Titan anymore? Is the packed builds? Well, we can find out. These days, a lot of players are a bit cookie cutter. I have no problem just hopping over here and seeing what the most played version is these days. I imagine it's the packed version, right? Of Titan Shift. A lot more ad nauseum than we've seen in a while. Alright, let's see. Shift is lately... It is playing some number of Summoners Pact lately. Okay. Fair enough. Alright, so we will put it on... Oop, cancel. We will put it on 0. Really wish I'd played this earlier because we would be using it right now. I think it is a good matchup for us, Brandio. I definitely agree with your assessment. But, I don't know if we're going to win anyway. I mean, sure, we have our Colonnade here, but I'd still rather be drawing 2. Oh, yeah, the Ruined Halo is absurd, but... doesn't look like the Rex Sage is main board. Carnage Tyrant, that's going to be annoying. Relic? Okay. Well, there goes my Logic Knot potential. Oh. Wow. Okay. I guess this is what we're doing. Found our win conditions. I do like Mystic Gate. Yeah, if you want to retool the mana base for me, Freebowl, I'd actually very much appreciate that because I'm not really well versed at building mana bases in general, much less for like a blue-white Chalice thing. Yes. Probably not. I don't even know how many sweepers I'm going to want, so let me just take them out. I don't think we cut any of our cycler cantrips. I think those are really important, just seeing what happened last game. I think we want every single counterspell we have access to. Blessed can go. I mean, this is an answer to the Carnage Tyrant, I suppose, but I think Spellcaller might be okay. Don't know if we want some of these bigger guys. I like the Entreat. I like the idea of Entreat, though. Stainful for sure. Purge? Does that hit anything post-board? Not really. Oh, their threats are almost exclusively green, yeah. So I don't know if I want Terminus. Or if I do, I don't know how many I want. Put the Stroke. Yeah, Stroke definitely goes in. I don't even know if I want this Journey. We want all our counter spells. Definitely want the Ruined Halo because it's insane. So, do we want Chalice? I think the answer is no. CMC2, what? We're looking at 2. I mean, don't get me wrong. This is not my opponent's Exactsy's list, right? We're just guessing. I mean, Chalice turning off Summoner's Pact is relevant. Is it relevant enough? I think no. I think this is a matchup where there's just too many different sized CMCs, converted mana costs, that I don't think we want things like Chalice or Explosives. And that's okay. Does our deck still have enough cards to be relevant, you know? If we take out all these pieces. I mean, I guess the first Chalice is fine. Because we don't mind setting one of them to 0, I guess. But, what else are we changing? I don't like cutting Jaces if we're still going to run any Miracles. I mean, maybe we're just better off just running a Verdict. We don't necessarily need the Exile factor on the Terminus. That's why this is, in my opinion, so strong at the moment. We'll play Journey. We'll play the Angels. And that gives me room for what? Yeah, I think we will play the Angels, and we'll play. I guess we'll still play a few Chalices. I don't think the Terminus is what I want to be doing, but maybe Terminus was correct to stay in. We'll find out. Sand seems really fair. I'm a little worried about a really fair hand. Like, our last hand was sweet. Or turned into something sweet. We cast a bunch of draw into it, of course. I mean, if you're thinking about top decking a Ruined Halo, I technically am supposed to lead on the planes, but I don't really know. That's right. The first Chalice can be for turning off Pact. Second Chalice can be for 1. We could have even tried to set this guy to 2. Or to 1. Excuse me, to CMC 1. Might not be wrong. Might not be wrong. But yeah, if you want to take apart the mana base for me, Bolt Pack, I actually really appreciate that. Or I would really appreciate that. Huntmaster. I'd rather save the Mana Leak. Like, we might get to tag a Titan here. Like, I'd rather just get this out of the way. Bailoff, it's fine. Ignores Teferi, goes after us. Fair enough. I might even just cycle this Illumination. Is that crazy? Now, technically this is a nice answer for the Bailoff. Maybe I'm not supposed to cycle the cast out. May have a search for tomorrow. So we have access to both the Mana Leak and the Spell Queller thanks to the Simian Spirit Guide. Just totally ignoring my Planeswalkers. Another Baloth. Search for tomorrow. So what do we want to have behind this entreat? Because we're going to get Teferi to untap us a little bit. I actually think we just rip it for the full amount. Looks like he's choked on mana. Is it crazy for me to bottom a land there? Maybe. I think Entreat's actually pretty powerful. I feel like it should see more play in these Miracle, Blue-White Miracle style of, you know, modern decks. And is it crazy that I'm not J-Storming? Probably crazy that I'm not doing that. Let's see, is it 23? Doesn't actually change the clock. Should I trade an Angel with the Baloth? Yeah, now I feel a lot safer with a logical knot. See, what's funny is the Mana Lake might still be fine, you know? It's always nice when you put together a J Storm. Search for Escanta. Really should swing in a way that's... Yeah, it would have put him to 1 if we... Oh, anyway. Pretty confident that we've got this, chat. And who knows, like, will we ever find out if the Chalice on 0 was relevant game 1 or game 2, that they might have had some of the green pact? I have no idea. I have no idea. Did we get to steal game 1 because of a powerful card such as Rune Halo? I think so. I think that we got to enjoy kind of a gimme game 1. I think this deck is deceptively powerful. I'm not trying to say that what Evan said was wrong. I think he gave me a lot of valuable feedback, and I was able to use that feedback that he gave me through him streaming the deck to make the deck a lot better, hopefully. So I don't want to sit here and make it seem like his sacrifice was in vain, but I am excited to maybe send this video to him if things keep going the way that we hope for them to go. So this hand's actually very good if the opponent is an aggressive deck. I'm a little worried that it's 2 lands and only 1 cycler, but I'm kind of curious to see how the main deck timely does. So we will see. So, let's give this a whirl. I mean, there's no rush to firing off the illumination. Probably better off just getting a hallowed fountain. Opponent's same record as us. Fault sees. Well, I never. Oh, that's right. That's what's going on here, opponent. Wonder what they take. Depending on what they take, they could give us a lot of information about what they're up to. Right? If they're playing like Hollow One, for example. I'm trying to think of all the different Blood Crypt Thoughtseize decks off of Delta. Quite a few different decks could start with this opener. Okay, takes the Logic Knot. Interesting. I don't know how aggressive that they might be. I mean, I'm assuming they're not aggressive if they're not taking Timely, right? So maybe we should just aggressively cycle this Illumination and hope to hit a relevant 2-drop play. It's kind of what they're suggesting. Nope, we didn't hit a relevant 2-drop play. Granted, I could have played the Glacial Fortress to keep up appearances. Do nothing. Interesting. Huh. You think it's just Grixis Shadow? Probably. Very well could be. Actually, you're probably almost 100% right at this point. Yeah, it is. These days, they look like this. Now, obviously, this is not something that we get to benefit from when we play paper, so take that with a grain of salt, but this is more or less what they look like these days. Ooh, Opt. Interesting. I don't think this is necessarily a bad matchup for us, actually. I think game one we actually have a little bit of an advantage, even. Interesting that they've got 3 different sets worth of... I mean, maybe these are just the arts that they like. Counter my absorb. John Michael. It's not what it's totally not what your name was there. Another shadow. Thanks for hitting that follow button. Yeah, it is. Oh, Gene Michael. Appreciate you, Gene. Negate. Okay. I mean, when it comes to fighting Shadow, I kind of like the idea of just making a bunch of dudes. We could even just see what he's up to, and end step try to remove the Shadow is another thing we could do. Chalice will do a ton of work here, I agree. But we'd have to find one. But yeah, Chalice on 1 is very strong in this matchup. So much of their deck is CMC 1, even if you just look here. Quite a bit of their deck is 1. Obviously, they'll have Colligan's Command post board. Oh, they're only playing 1 these days? Okay. Ooh, jeez. That's cool. Yeah, kind of like, you know, think about if we're fighting kind of like Infect. I don't really want to fight over the Shadow in the middle of combat. So this could easily get stubbed, but if it does... kind of clears the way for the rest of what I'm doing. Another absorb. I was kind of hoping to hit 5th land drop before I cast Timely just to chump block mode. Like I don't really want to. Well, we can't just sit here. And the Shadow isn't big enough that like Battle Rage is concerned at the moment. First wave was the way you say it. Okay, so he wants to stub this. Oh, we're a little bit in trouble now, chat. Stub, snap, stub. Answer both of my relevant plays. I got you, Michael. How many lootings this day? Age. None in this version. His version is playing looting. Well, time for a Terminus off the top. There's 3 in the deck. Terminus would be nuts here. He's on 0 cards. Blessed Alliance. So we get to shrink the shadows here. Yeah, that buys us a lot of time. Hope that he doesn't top deck another counterspell. Like, cause I think we need both modes on this to be relevant. You gain life. Oh. Oh, we're dead. That was nice. Stub, snap, stub, stub. I'll give you that, opponent. But I think we can win this. So they do care about Rest in Peace. I'm not going to play the playset. It's not like we're playing against Phoenix or Dredge or anything. Purge is very good in the matchup, so that's an easy thing to bring in. That's unfortunate. It happens, chat. Don't worry about it. I do think that Cryptic's a little bit clunky for the matchup. And if I'm bringing in some number of Rest in Peace, I like taking out the Logic Knot. That's just logical. This is good. This is good. Same reasons that Cryptic is awkward, so is the Absorb. So how many... I mean, these days they're on, what, 3 Snapcasters. This also turns off 4 Anglers. Give or take, some versions are running some number of Taziger. This guy had looting, so it turns that off too. I think I at least want 2 Rest in Peace. At least. Chalice, of course, is very good as well. I think Gideon's fine. I also think that the Negate's only so good in this matchup. Blessed is Dece plus. These can all stay. Search is a little slow, but I'll keep it. Bring in the Quellers because they don't get stubbed. That's fair. So do we want Timely's? I like Timely. Obviously, the only thing it's going to be relatively weak to is you don't get to gain the life on this card in this matchup. It's usually just a 3 mana, 3 blockers, which is, I mean, that can't be as good as some of these other choices, right? Angels are good here? Really? You think so? I could see them being good. I could see them being strong. Maybe Gideon's a little on the weak side. Oh, hang on. Maybe the Rest in Pieces are a trap, right? Well, no, I don't think so. I think 2 is reasonable. Maybe Entreat's the trap. Maybe that's... It's not like we're playing against mid-range. Grixis Shadow can kind of play a more mid-rangey game, but they're not true mid-range. I really want to save this for more like that kind of a situation. Yeah, I'm running 2 Rest in Peace. I think this is where we want to be. All right. So this is a little disappointing to have double Terminus in the opener. We'd have to find a Jace to return them to the top of the deck. This is a 4-lander with a cantrip. I think we will mulligan, and now I'm very, very sad. But I will keep. And we will bottom. I'm assuming I'm not going to get to keep this Chalice. Assuming this is Thoughtseize. Yeah, I think Entreat would be a trap for sure. I think it's definitely the kind of card that we should really only be bringing in against like other late game or mid range decks. Like Shadow's kind of trying to go under those decks. It's not really trying to be, that kind of a deck. Thinking it's Fountain. At the same time, I really don't want my turn one to be nothing, but I think taking the extra damage is maybe just straight up wrong. And really, we should be kind of biding our time on these cyclers a little bit more, so that we use them to kind of set up a Terminus during our opponent's turn, ideally. Now, we have a lot less information. It's not like it's an opt. That's more so that's the quote unquote better way to, be playing the Miracles build, I'd argue, because they get to play opt and snap opt. It just gives you your draw for the turn, and it gives you 2 looks at finding the opt during their interesting takes my cast out. Okay. This looks to be Gurmagangler. It's a Gurmangler. My gosh, we are gonna need like a Terminus at this point. If our draws continue to be this weak. There's not much else we'll set the explosives to. I'd rather not worry about this mana-wise later in the game. Like we're most likely setting that to 1 no matter what. Especially if we're not gonna find a Chalice before they find some shadows. Man, we just can't catch a break. Alright, so if we do find third land, we have a chump caster, we have a chump spell queller. Gosh, opponent's on 2. Is there a universe where we get to draw the land here and we get to end step queller and hit them with the queller? I doubt it. That's so disappointing that we lost that first game. That was a nice set of rips from the opponent. Speaking of which, we're dead to a battle rage now. Opponent showing dominance with their denial here. I feel like you don't even deny that. But what do I know? I think we are going to be chumping with this queller to hope to draw an out to the angler. That's really sad. That's really sad that this happened, chat. I mean, I guess if we rip another land, we get to Jace bounce the angler. But this is really sad. Why did this have to happen? We were doing so well, chat, and our 25 land deck finds us 3. Sorry to complain, chat, but it's a little sad that we're using this mode of the spell queller. Just bolt me. If you got a bolt, just bolt us. Dismember. That'll do it. Man, we just couldn't catch a break. I kind of wish I'd kept my opener. Like it would have made land drops a lot better. Terminus is coming up. I kind of wish I'd stuck to my guns and kept the opener. What was the opener? It was like Terminus and a bunch of lands. It was a pretty anemic 7. I think a lot of players, not just me, would probably mulligan that opener. I think it was 5 lands, a Terminus, and another card I can't remember. Might have been a Cycler. Yeah, actually I think our opener was Cycler, Terminus, 5 lands. Again, against these Thoughtseize Inquisition decks, that's not an unreasonable keep, because you're probably a lot of the time going to be playing off the top of the deck anyway, but that's okay. Oh, it was 2 Terminus? Ugh. I don't know. That could have gone wrong too. And it's not just that they're dead cards. It also means we're not top decking it. Is the other thing, like when you have Terminus in your opener, right? Like, so here we have a Terminus in the opener, so it's essentially a 6-card hand. So there's definitely some prices you pay for playing this card in Modern. In Legacy, it's not a thing. You don't worry about it at all. Brainstorm. you, you don't even worry about this card being in your openers in Legacy. In Modern, it's definitely something that you have to calculate and think about. So I wonder if we're going to get to use Chalice here. Ooh, Humies? Nope, it's Elves. Chalice less relevant, unfortunately, against Elves. Ooh, Chancellor. I should have fetched there. What am I doing? I'm a madman. Crazy, crazy brew spy. Madman. Definitely meant to fetch my Flooded Strand. I'm just like so taken aback that this is Elves, right? What do we even do? What do we do for Elves? What's the plan for Elves, man? They're uncounterable. It's another Chancellor. But I should be cracking and cycling these and stuff. So this is not good. You know what? Let's just go ahead and start doing that. Yeah, so Chalice is more or less irrelevant here, right? Like Chalice on 1 with Cavern, they can get through that. Chalice set to 4 for Collected Company, right? Now we'll kick it back. Now, what sucks about the Field of Ruin here, I mean, granted, that's a way we could get rid of the Cavern, then Chalice on 1 makes sense. So maybe I still should have set Chalice to 1, gone after the Cavern the next turn. I think in retrospect, that's how I should have spent my last turn. Yeah. I think I should have spent the last turn setting Chalice to 1, and then Field of Ruin the Cavern. So we're just going to get run over. Because I don't have that option. And that's exactly what I was hoping to not have happen. I still think like we're supposed to be cycling though, right? But without opt, we have no predictability on whether or not it's gonna be. We just do the quick concession. That's so sad. That's so sad if that's what I'm about to do. We can make an anemic play, which is take out the Heritage Druid, and then we have to somehow not die to the 9 damage that's in play. We're at 11. The deck was kind to us. I didn't think that the next card was exactly Terminus. And because we had Field and not another white source, like if this wasn't Field here, we would have been able to Terminus right there. Ooh, it's a little loud. Brandio with the Twitch Prime sub. Let me fix that sound. It's way louder than it should be. It was way louder than it should have been. Thank you, Brandy. I really appreciate the support, even though we're dying. Very, very, very sad-like. In a very sad way, we're dying. Does that change anything? Even with double modes on the Blessed, we still die. Right? They sacrifice a creature, we gain 4. No, that's not true. That's enough. That's enough of a life swing to buy us another chance at peeling like Terminus or whatnot. We need the support now than ever. Yeah, that barely keeps our head above water, right? So we'll Blessed, he sacrifices that. No, we still die. I'm at 2. Never mind. Yeah, because he'll swing in. It's 9 damage coming our way. He gives up a Chancellor. We gain 6. We still die at 7. We can math. We can math. Where was the third Terminus? It was a ways away. That's okay. So Elves. They're not always going to have the Cavern. I still think the Chalice is good, especially when we're on the play. Explosives is strong. Timely seems good. There's not too many things I want. I know that they're probably, if they're not a chord build, they're going to be a company build or both. So Disdainful actually does counter those plays. Queller would counter company. We don't know exactly what's up though, to be honest. So when it comes to elves, Halo can go. Journey can go. Actually, even the Blessed could go. Some of those more like 1-for-1 removal. It's just not good enough. So we want our sweepers, obviously. I don't think we want to cut walkers. Gideon might just not be enough. Like they go wide. Gideon's not very strong when your opponent's going wide. I think this might be the beginnings of how we sideboard. Actually, I think Cryptic is fine. Threes. Threes, part of our mana base. Tap lands. That was just a case of unfortunate, like where it's. And again, I've tried to trim down on the Field of Ruins, as important as they can be in some matchups. I've tried to trim on those elements of the deck tremendously, but it still kind of got us in the end. The mana just being a little bit awkward. So yeah, Stroke I like. I like the Spell Quellers. Maybe this is our 60. Do we want to bother with the Angels? I think that Elves, once you kind of sweep them, they're pretty anemic. I don't think we need to necessarily slam an Angel to win from that point. So let's run it like this. You could even argue the Entreat might be good enough. Because Elves, kind of their plan B, if they're not, womboing off is... I would keep this. I think even though it's going to be a little bit slow, sure, this isn't a second Hallowed Fountain, which it probably should be. It's got plenty of cyclers. I think we do want this. Like next turn, even if we don't draw another land yet, we could cycle to try to find a different land. Which we did. Which would let me cycle another of these. And again, something that does make me nervous about the deck is when we're doing these cycles, it's all moments where I could be hitting Terminus. So that's a little bit risky. But there are other cards in the deck that we need to find. Fiddler says, you're not dead. Oh, true. You're right, because it's an Anthem. Good point. Would shrink both of those threats. Oh, man. Not bad, opponent. You know what? I'm going to opt for a different plan. Well, with Prairie Stream, though, it's very tempting to have basics. I don't think the next card's Terminus. This card could be Terminus, though. All right. What do we want to do? Want to be able to counter. Could easily be a company. It's an obvious tell if they don't attack with the elves that that's what's going on. Shaman. Okay. So we could try to spike Terminus here, because we're probably cycling this anyway. Whew! 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 Well, hey! But yeah, you're right, Fitter. I think we would have died after that, not trying to justify my miscalculation. I think it's very possible that we do die after that point. But that was sweet. Tap this way, get Chalice on 1. They do have a lot of 1-drops. And sure, we could have stuck Jace there, but I kind of I like this line a little bit better. No, you will not do that. Actually, undo. Things I could never use from the graveyard are those two. That was a juicy Terminus. We didn't deserve that, but I'm okay with it. It was a juicy time to see the Terminus, to get to do it during our opponent's turn. It was pretty spicy. to say the least. It was nice. It felt good. Yeah, let's chase. Opponent does not want to sit around. I think that this is the configuration though. I don't see us changing that. Shaman of the Pact, I think gets stopped with Runed Halo, but I still don't think it's right. Timely, some cyclers, seems fine to me. Is there a weird, bizarre world where I lead on planes just to optimize the chance that Terminus is coming off the top? I don't think so. Speaking of which, it's okay. That's gonna happen. That's gonna happen more than just this game, by the way, where like your first draw of the game is an unwilling Terminus. Dwynen's Elite. Man, a leak. All right. With Terminus being your only out, I think we should be playing Telling Time. Ooh, I like Telling Time. Kind of doing like a bad opt impression, or better opt impression. Well, worse. It's worse. Better in some ways, worse in others. Well, now that he's got the cavern here, I think. Although this suggests what? This suggests collect the company. Admittedly. Like him not attacking with the Mystic definitely suggests company. Yeah, I should have sat on the Mana Leak. That's my bad. Like costing us points to what? To cutesy to pull off the Terminus there for what? 3 damage. Now it's 2 extra damage. Now I really do need to find. Now, granted, the Timely could buy us a reasonable amount of time. More than you might think. This Timely will buy us, which we certainly will do it. Back up to 20. But there was no reason for me to not hold up the Mana Leak there. I think that was definitely short-sighted on my part. Telling Time can be... Oh, Telling Time is in the normal Miracle lists? I could get behind it. I could get behind some copies of that card. Another company. More Duders. Ugh, Archdruid. Okay. If he swings with the Chancellor, I like a double block. Yeah, I would hold back Chancellor. I agree. Probably just block the Elite. We'll take 6. Kind of want to ration our blocks. Explosives on 1. Takes out here, here, here. However, Explosives on 2 takes out the Chancellor and the Elite. And also lets us hold up counter magic. But that being said, we're probably still just popping this. Because it's taking out an Anthem and a threat. Gosh, this hand might just be double Shaman of the Pact, huh? Like, that would be... Pretty unfortunate, chat. Not much I can do with double Cavernous Souls about that. So we'll take out the... I don't know if I like companying before the explosives resolves, though. But, I mean, we're just dead, because that was an insane company. Good game, sir. We had a really insane terminus, but that was a literal crazy company. I think our opponent's draw was triple company there, right? Double company. It's a pretty insane. And that's the thing, like in modern, like, and that's unfortunately something that Evan talked about. Ooh, we get to do the gemstone if we want to. That was something that Evan talked about. So I have no idea what my opponent's on. So I don't know if the journey is useful or if it's the negate. I do like the idea of gemstoning. Probably gonna let go of the journey. Maybe kicking myself in a moment here. We will see. But yeah, that was a pretty insane company. Who's playing Dredge? We should be able to play against Dredge. I don't know, chat. Let's get the colonnade down. I was gonna say we should be able to play against Dredge just with the playset of Rest in Peace plan. Creeping Chill. Like theoretically, we should be. Thought about holding up the negate for Cathartic Reunion. I don't think I'd go after a Shriekhorn with this, but maybe I'm supposed to. Chalice. What do you set it to in this matchup? You could turn off Faithless Looting. It's also relevant to turn off... let's go ahead and just set it to 1. Like, looting is solid enough. There's 2 lootings in his graveyard. Oh, he found a Dredger. So game 1 against Dredge, I really don't know what the plan is other than hope to see Terminus, multiple Terminus at that. But yeah, setting Chalice also to CMC2 is relevant in the matchup. Might have been more relevant than setting it to 1. It's hard to set the Chalice to 2, though. Let's cast the Stinkweed. Speaking of Terminus. It's a little earlier than we maybe need it, though, obviously. Like, you want to get the amalgams, you want to get the Bloodghasts, admittedly. Like, maybe I shouldn't, but, like, we could just die to the pressure he already had, unfortunately. So there's your first amalgam. I actually think I might get the other Prairie Stream because it would be a little bit awkward to draw here, whereas Fountain we could actually use the mana immediately. Opponent doesn't have a Dredger at the moment. I'd like to keep it that way. Oh no, yeah, he has Life in the Loam. This is Dredger. But that's pretty slow going. I mean, could be a lot worse for us. We're not going to take him off green, I imagine, right? It's a weird, bizarre world universe where, like, we see both of our fields. He'd still have City of Brass at the end of the day. Right? I mean, that's just not something that could possibly happen. There's a Bloodghast. beginning of the end. I do think he has another land in his hand, in fairness, right? It's pretty likely. Yeah, he cast a Life of the Loam last turn, so it's not like we're stopping him from getting the Bloodghast back. We may just have to take our lumps and lose the first game, because even if we do find the other 3 Terminus in the deck in a timely fashion, like for example, this Cryptic gives us the option to hit Terminus during our opponent's turn. That doesn't mean that, you know, like we still have to somehow win the game, and I don't think it's going to be this Colonnade. Just saying. So we'll probably do some Cryptic tapping, and then the thing is eventually they just kill you with the Con Flag. We're already at 13. So they're building up to that huge Con Flag. Now, granted, I can counter the Con Flag. Probably want to use Absorb here. So I mean, we can fight over the Con Flags. That's, you know, definitely making me glad I maybe kept the negate over the Journey. Although Journey hits, you know, like a prized amalgam, etc. I mean, against Dredge, you really can't 1-for-1 what they got going on. Illumination. So we use that during their turn, and maybe we get to hit the Terminus. Nothing but the nuts. Yeah. Pretty much. Oh, you know what? We don't have enough mana to... Maybe I should have shot because we won't be able to find Cryptic. So I think we just take our lumps. So there's Blessed. I really don't want to set Chalice to 2 now, though, because it's kind of protecting us, so to speak. Well... It's hard to say whether or not I'm supposed to set this to 2. So we have a Colonnade block. Should have activated Colonnade. Yeah, I don't know what I want to do. Like, am I supposed to turn off his Life from the Loam because he's going to try to set up into another... probably going to try to set up into another Con Flag, but then I lose the negate. So maybe I should have used the negate and held the Absorb. Granted, we'd be at 8 instead of 11. But yeah, I definitely like blocking amalgams here. And we could have done that last turn, you're right. So we're down to 6. Opponent gets his Faithless Looting countered. That's how that works. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Ooh, you know what I could have done? I could have just cast Negate here and then put Chalice. Granted, Chalice on 4 means I don't get to do a Colonnade block. I mean, I feel like we're looking for Sweeper or Cryptic or something of the sort at this point, right? Cast out. Cast out gives me another look for Terminus. And even here I could still cast 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, so we need to find Cryptic or Terminus. So me setting this to 2 means I'm just saying goodbye to the negate, but I probably should have cast this sooner. Alright, so those are our outs. And granted, this is game 1, right? So game 2 and 3 against Dredge, if we get a game 3, these rest in pieces are going to do a lot of work, and we'll probably bring in the angels, right? Banes, the Bane Slayers, and Lyra, I imagine. So let's cycle this. Do we hit Cryptic? Do we see a Terminus? No. All right. Think it was pretty far away. So Chalice is interesting in the matchup. Like Chalice on 1 and 2 does more or less lock out Dredge, but is that good enough? Verdict, when paired with Rest in Peace, does what we need it to do. Obviously, we just need to make sure we can shove those into the deck. Explosives is bad. Gideon, not so much. Timely, probably. Blessed doesn't do enough. Journey, also, in my opinion, does. Runed Halo is an answer to the Conflag, but I also don't know if I want that. There are other ways we can maybe fight that war. Like, if we had turned off, for example, if we'd used Chalice to turn off my opponent's Life from the Loam sooner, they would have never gotten that off. I think Jaces are really important because we need to be able to put Terminus on top. I don't necessarily want Teferi. I say necessarily because I'm not sure. Some of our counter magic really is just weak. It really only serves the purpose of protecting Rest in Peace, but with us just jamming the playset of Rest in Peace, in my mind, the kind of way that we protect Rest in Peace is we play another copy of Rest in Peace. Obviously, that's weak against specifically like Echoing Truth. He's not on Truth. He's not in blue. Maelstrom Pulse, it is weak against. That is something that could happen. But we are going to run some counter spells. So hold up. We just kind of piece it all together. Give me Angels. Give me. I mean, some of these exiling effects are fine, right? I mean, Journey, Runed Halo, technically, and Purge all fall into a similar category in this matchup, right? You know, Purge at least answers a Bloodghast or Amalgam. Halo's still good? Okay. I buy that. I mean, they can't really beat an Entreat, by the way, if we make it long enough to this. They have a hard time beating that. I might even just like the Celestial Purge because of its instant speed nature. Oh, okay, Storm. We'll play the Purge. I like it. It's instant speed. It's relevant. Let's look for an opener with Rest in Peace. There we go. Right, 4 copies. We should be able to find them. Yep, scrying to land. I'm okay with that as well. Because it's Magic Online. Because it makes sense. I don't know. We're gonna slam this. And then opponent might, you know, obviously answer the Rest in Peace, but I'm still slamming it. Oh, no, we did take out the Logic Knot. I don't have a lot of anti-synergy for the Rest in Pieces in this build, which is kind of nice. But they usually are able to answer the first Rest in Peace. It's the second one that I'm really interested in. Let's see. This is him trying to draw to outs. So unfortunately, though, we can't protect the Rest in Peace. We may see the opponent start to hardcast some of their threats. Yep. Fine by me. Actually, I probably still should have gotten Prairie Stream there. Might just use this Spirit Guide to hardcast the Terminus. We'll see. Do think the Rest in Peace is pretty insane at the moment. Sideboard card. Another Stinky. Okay. Huh. I could name. That feels so wrong. There's some of the weakest threats in their deck. They do line up, unfortunately, against my soldiers. Yes, I could Ruined Halo the imps, but I don't want to do that. I'm fine taking some lumps while we just top deck for here. Yeah. Oh, surely it's wrong, but it would indeed be funny. Bloodgast. Shriekhorn. Alright. So Teferi helps us make our land drop like a boss. We could even protect him from the Bloodgast here with the Purge if we wanted to, but I feel as though we're... Oh, he's milling us. I like it. He milled us with the Shriekhorn. How did the Waste Not games turn out? Not so good, Ganya Jeff. Oh, speaking of which, I need to change the stream title. Thank you for reminding me. I appreciate that. I knew there was a reason I still had my Twitch dashboard open. I just couldn't put my finger on it. We Terminus this board, right? Like hopefully Teferi draws us into that. Oh, well, okay, Chalice Control is in the name, but I'd rather move away from that. I'm sorry that I put up SpeedBrew because it's already 10:30 and I've got work in the morning. I might not have actually been able to do that. But then I appreciate you saying that. It reminded me. These are all going after Fury. I mean, we're aiming just to Terminus, right? We have a glut of resources. I think there's potential I actually don't hit the land. I know we get 2 looks. This also just overall improving, retaining a lot more loyalty on the Teferi is not irrelevant. I mean, granted, this Terminus, all it's going to do is remove a bunch of 1-power creatures. Potentially. Which we... Okay, I guess we're going to have to do it through the Jace. That's what he's for. Yeah, I appreciate it. Ooh, and then we follow up with Entreat. I think this card's stronger than people are... I don't know. It just feels strong. But I'm probably biased. But that does feel like game-winning, right? That we get to follow up the... Should I Rune to save Jace? Doesn't work that way to my understanding. So they can still hit Planeswalkers. Under the old rules, Jade, you could protect Planeswalkers with Halo. Under the new rules, that's not a thing. But Jace has served his purpose. He set up 2 miracles like a boss. Treat is a good card, it's just not fast enough. I could see that. Oh, he's going to give us another card for this Terminus. Now, I will admit, here's something that's awkward. Because the next card is Entreat, if we plus Teferi, opponent says, really? Yes. Just judging from some of the comments from our opponent, I don't think we necessarily need to respond. Oh, he hit us with a Shriekhorn. I didn't even think about the implications of the Shriekhorn. Fair enough. I'm sure somebody in chat noticed, right? I'm sure one of you guys noticed that. I actually think I do want to get a Colonnade hit. One of you guys probably noticed that, didn't you? Yeah, he had Shriekhorn. We just naturally found a Terminus. Oh man. Was indeed miraculous. Well, we still have to find a way to win. I mean, I guess no, the Colonnade will do it. Let's just let Colonnade do what it does. Just let it do what it does. And now we get to back this up with Cryptic, and it's pretty over. But yes, I did not think about those implications. Okay. So nature's claims are his answer to our rest in peace. We could have a game where we sequence Chalice on 1 first, then we rest in peace next game. Cut him off some more of his outs to the rest in peace. Yep. You got it. Yeah. But yes, the Shriekhorn was actually relevant there, which is kind of funny. It's a little awkward against our Jace when I think about it. Opponent's got a playset of Shriekhorn, and we try to put the Terminus and the Entreat back. That's something to think about. I mean, granted, we're aiming to set Chalice on 1 because it protects the rest in peace, because he's shown us that he's on the Nature's Claim plan. Let's take a look at a dredge list, recent list. Opponent seems like the metagame type, right? Just kidding. There is no type. There's nothing wrong with it. Wow, that is 4 Nature's Claims and then 1 trophy. Okay, cool. Awesome. 4 Shriekhorn. Okay. So something like that. So that does mean what for us? I still like this. I don't think we change anything. I still like our configuration. Just something to think about, that maybe before we slam Rest in Peace, we try to find Chalice for 1. And I even though the opponent could theoretically answer us J-storming to the top of Miracle, ooh. This would be a risky keep, right? Opponent kept a quick 7, which probably means I'm a little happier with this, I think. Let's bottom Lyra. I think I'm a little bit happier with this 6. All right. No, I'm glad I bottomed that Lyra. Drew Baneslayer anyway. Exactly. See, that's the thing. I don't know why we're even talking about Shriekhorn. It's not even a card, right? Not even a card. But the tree corn's interesting. It does let them, what? It lets them put 6 in the yard over the course of 3 turns. I mean, that's relevant for their deck. Ooh, Cathartic, we're in trouble. Well, depending on what he hits... So that's triple Creeping Chill, which is kind of the nuts. Almost gave his Bloodghasts haste. I guess we still Ruined Halo Bloodghast. He almost, literally, almost got to... But yeah, so we still... Ruined Halo here. Bloodghast. We're still in trouble, chat. I don't know what we're gonna do leading up to the turn where we get to what? What am I, Jace bouncing the Amalgam? I don't even know. I think we're just dead. That was a pretty insane turn 2 from our opponent. Triple Lightning Helix us seems pretty good. I mean, that's just bonkers when you think about it. Triple Creeping Chill. Ooh. Okay. That's cute. So opponent gives up attacking us to use Stain the Mind. That's some cute technology. But, like, here's the thing. Rest in Peace isn't really what we need here. Like, what we need here is second Terminus. Okay, you get my Rest in Pieces. I don't think I've ever seen Stain the Mind out of Dredge. This is interesting. Rest in Peace is such a weird name, it's too late. Yeah, it is a little bit on the late side. Oh, jeez. So you think he has a Nature's Claim just judging from leading on Stomping Ground? I guess that's the end of us right there. The 4th Creeping Chill. So we go to 8. Opponent brings back Bloodghast. Which is just really relevant because it's going to bring back these other Amalgams. So in the end, we're going to be facing an army of Amalgams. So we die anyway. That's okay. That was probably one of the craziest draws I've ever seen for Modern Dredge in recent memory. Right? Like, all of their relevant cards were on the top half of their deck. Oh. Okay. Well. Oh. What? Redemption! Whew. Alright, okay, but how do we... That's great, that's a good start, but we need more than that. We're at 4. He's brought in his lighting axes, but he's milled both of them. Oh, we're just dead. He hit some con flags, so it doesn't even matter, chat. Like, if we play I mean, we're just dead to these con flags. That's too bad. Stain the Mind for rest in peace. It's fascinating. But now we're just dead. I don't see a way we could win. That was pretty juicy time to hit the terminus, but we've gone too low from the playset of creeping chills. All right. Well, unfortunately, don't have the counterspell. Good games. Wow. Let's just finish this league out tonight. We technically did a little bit better than the last version of this deck did, because Evan took this list, took a previous iteration of this list through a. So I actually really like the idea you guys had of telling time. I actually thought that was a really neat idea. I think the absorb was awkward, first of all. I think that's too much cast out. Don't get me wrong, I like the hieroglyphic illuminations a lot. Maybe another lower CMC counterspell, or maybe the third cryptic. I think there were a lot of places where we were just kind of... Because I don't necessarily want to up the number of sweepers. I think if anything, I'm already on the heavier side with the main board verdict as well. So, you know, maybe we try out a telling time or two. Oops. And then that's maybe where we try the third cryptic again. I think the version we gave to Evan was on cryptic number 3. And then I'll cut something else. Don't get me wrong, I liked Absorb. I don't think I liked it enough for the 2 of. I like the Rune Halo a lot. I think I need to pick from this little pack here. Or maybe even the explosives goes into the sideboard, perhaps. I think like Blessed. Just, I like how flexible like Blessed and technically Timely get to be. You get to answer or bias time against multiple things, whereas Journey is just like, answer this one creature. So maybe the Journey is honestly the sideboard. And then as cool as the Entreat has been tonight, maybe that's the cut. So I like the idea of having some number of just 2 mana answer or whatever. I just like this better when we know specifically they're going to be on creatures. So yeah, maybe this would be cool. Right, because we can't really play Opt with the Chalice build. I mean, it's just not worth, because a lot of the time you're putting Chalice on 1 in the first game. But if we pick up this win, we get to recoup some of our points. Alright, Stain the Mind's actually fairly stock and dredge, but it's weird to see it brought in against control. I actually had no idea. Sand can get kind of run over, unfortunately. But maybe something more like this would have been better. And then we'll cut something from the sideboard, maybe the Entreat, maybe that is too much Angel here. Still, I kind of like that more than the Entreat, even still. I think it's important post-board to be able to slam, you know, Baneslayer and the like. I think it's important for us to be able to pivot into these. Are we finally going to be up against Burn when we don't have the Chalice draw? Oh, man. Dang it. Oh, well, we drew Blessed. This could be a game. Blessed's good in the matchup. This could be a game. It's just I'm sitting here with Cryptic and Jace and Terminus, and I'm just like, ugh. Oh boy. Hey, what's up, Raccoon 1? Chalice without Simeon seems impossible. We could play more. I'll tell you what. One of the earlier iterations, the one that Evan played, was 2 Simeons, 2 Caverns, and then it just seemed really awkward, so I slimmed down to just 1 ofs. I could see doing 2 Simeons, 1 Gemstone Cavern. But the problem is I don't really want to cut on the land. I don't really want to cut down to 24. Just because we're not... oh, okay, never mind. This is what we're doing. Interesting. Give me engineered explosives, right? Give me Terminus. I thought this was Burn. This is Niv Magus elemental combo. That's awesome. I am excited. So, because we drew the other island, we get to go Blessed Alliance into Absorb. That might not be worth it. This is me hoping to draw a different land, right? If this is the way that I'm sequencing this. Alright, Metamorphose. So he's trying to hit Ground Rift, I imagine, to wombo with the Niv Magus elemental. This is Jerry's list. Jerry Thompson's list. I'm excited. I'm excited to see what's going on. Ah, okay. Okay. That's cool. Oh wait, he just exiled the light up the stage itself. I'm with you. Okay. Interesting. I'm just gonna gain 4 here. Actually, no, they're 3 powers creatures. Maybe I should have just had him sacrifice a threat. It was almost the same. That was silly of me, chat. That was probably not worth. Yeah, I should have just had him sacrifice a creature. I gained 1 life point, but we're going to lose that life point on subsequent turns. That was silly of me. But maybe that's okay. I mean, our hand's really not coming together. I mean, so this turn having Absorb is kind of neat. More or less whatever they play here. But we get to follow that up with Cryptic? Or do we follow up with Jace? I'm at 12. I guess I would follow up with Jace. Jace Storm the Terminus to the top. They attack Jace. Jace saves us some life points. So, seems fine. At this point, I'd probably take most anything I could counter. Oh, what am I doing with the Niv Magus? It's going to fizzle the Absorb. So there's actually really no way for me to get that those life points because of the Niv Magus. That's a problem. So we're going to go to Bolt range. That's a bit of a problem, chat. Yeah, he gets to eat it. That's unfortunate. I mean, there's not much I can do there. I have no idea if this list is even running Bolt. I imagine it is, if it's a Swift Spear list. Hieroglyphic. So we get a few looks. If we had enough mana, like if we had 6 mana, well obviously we would just cast the Terminus, but if Jace is already in play, or 3, it's kind of one of those damned if we did, damned if we didn't kind of situations. There's not really anything I can do. I mean, again, this is where like the Simian mana is sometimes relevant, because if we could cast Jace and cycle and cast the Terminus during their turn, we'd be golden. But it's asking for a lot to set the Terminus and to cycle into it. So technically, if we Field of Ruin, that gives us the opportunity to hit Cryptic, right? Or no, we can't. Well, yeah, we could if we use the Cast Out. If we use Cast Out, this gives us Cryptic isn't out, Terminus isn't out. Technically, I should do this. Well, no. I was thinking about the like just answering the Niv Magus elemental with a with the uh, like I mean, there's also explosives. Like if we do it then, there's I think technically more outs than if we cycle during their turn, right? I mean, technically, we're not dead if we just cast out the elemental, but I'm assuming that they have 2 cards in hand. I'm assuming they're more spells. Oh, see, that was another out potential. I didn't even think about the main board timely, so that's my bad, chat. We should have probably just cycled on our own turn just to see what we could hit. Because like explosives, timely, these are other outs, whereas only Terminus and granted, well no, Terminus we wouldn't have been able to use that turn because we already drew for turn. That's complicated to think about. It's kind of sad that that ended up the way that it did. So he's kind of hyper aggressive. I don't really like these cards. I'm not going to look at the link that you gave me though, because it's more fun for me if I try to figure out this puzzle on my own. These are all things I'm thinking about. I can already kind of assume what's going on. Oh, we're sideboard bugged. No, are you kidding me? Oh. Yeah, we're sideboard bugged. Alright, hold up. I'll try to reboot Moto really quick. Let me submit something though before we do that, because that's something I've done in the past that's kind of not good. I think it will move out the Jaces. Honestly, I think that like by the time we get to Cryptic, it's just too late, you know, a lot of the time. Well, it's not going to lock it in unless I really want the other angels. I really do. Logic Knot could be kind of awkward against hyper-aggressive decks, too. But yeah, if I had my way, we would probably swap maybe the Verdict for the other angel. You know what? We only have a minute. I'm not going to bother. Not that I want to give us an excuse for if and when we lose that Moto, you know, sideboard bugged us. But, would I keep this hand? It's got land drops. Doesn't have any early interaction except for the negate. Honestly, cycling on their turn's correct, though. It was more Terminus. Yeah. Right, I was thinking about the Terminus and the Cryptic. Granted, Cryptic would have also worked to draw that turn. It's close. It's close, Storm. But we also had there was also Ruined Halo still in the deck at that point. I need to get in the habit of not cycling these cyclers until we have white mana available, until it's my opponent's turn, because I'm cutting us off of potential Terminus draws, which is not good. Gut shot. Okay. I'm with you. I'm with you so far, opponent. Rending Volley. For what? I'm assuming they're trying to finish off something like an angel that way. The old gut shot in to light up the stage. I like it. Yeah, I guess it was slightly more in our favor to do that. If Magus. Oh yeah, I'm aware that we ended up just doing a whole lot of nothing last game. I'm fully aware of it, chat. It was a little frustrating, to say the least. But I mean, now that there's a threat in play, I'm very happy to cycle the Illumination. I'll probably exile it here. But that takes care of the Faithless Looting permanently, so I think I'm okay with that exchange. Verdict. Okay, so Verdict's coming up, so why don't we just set up for that? So we'll do that, and then we'll have to shock because we do need second white source on this Scalding Tarn, which is a little bit awkward, but oof. Okay. Well, that sucks. Can we beat this Niv-Magus Elemental? It's not like this is a white fetch either. Oh, we just drew white? That's kind of sweet. I mean, I don't think we're going to find the other planes in the deck, but now we could theoretically find the other Terminus in the deck. We could come back. It's just, like, my whole hand is basically white-white. I know, we're playing blue-white, like, is it often that we get Blood Mooned? Oh yeah, I mean, that'll happen from time to time, even if you're only two colors. Especially if you're not expecting it. I think I should have been thinking Blood Moon. That's pretty good. Oh, two mountains, that's not a big deal. Another Bane Slayer. Guess I'm just dead. Well, that's disappointing. I mean, any spell here makes the Niv-Magus lethal. That's really too bad. And before you draw the Terminus on the hieroglyphic, I know, right? Huh. GG. Yeah, I wouldn't think that we normally would be that susceptible to Blood Moon. But anyway, maybe we'll make some of those changes. Not that I'm not gonna rub this in Evan's face and be like, "Oh, I was slightly more successful with the deck than he was." I'm not gonna say that. Actually, I think he might have even rattled off a win with the deck too. So it definitely needs a tune-up. Maybe it's as simple as also incorporating something like Telling Time into the deck as well. I don't think I want to cut that many cyclers though, so we trimmed one cycler, and we also had somebody else making the observation that the deck maybe wants a little bit more fast mana. I could be coaxed into another Simeon, but even still, I think I'd want to figure out what we're cutting or moving, this or that. Or again, like maybe the explosives or the blessed or the timely really should be relegated to the sideboard. Even still, right? I mean, maybe these guys should be kind of like the main deck timely, though. Kind of like main deck timely more than the blessed, to be honest. I don't even know if I want blessed in this list anymore. Just lots of little things to still tweak on the list. I think it performed more or less where I thought it was at, so I still had fun. I'm not worried about. I'm not really down in the dumps that we destroyed a poor Titan player and then we just couldn't finish the rest of the league. But I think third Cryptic is well deserved, and maybe something like Telling Time and Extra Simeon might kind of help the deck kind of propel it in the earlier turns, give it some more spice, more tools. Maybe that is too many angels, even still. Maybe we're still better off with just the two. I don't know. It's hard to say, chat, but I'll leave you with that. I'll leave the list at that, and I'm going to try to get some reasonable sleep. Most of the time when I do these Sunday streams with you guys, I'm not asleep when I mean to be. Not even close. Yeah, maybe something like that. We'll screenshot it. Maybe you guys will run the list, especially if you already have the cards for it. Please give it a run and let myself and Evan know how it does or doesn't do. I know, right? How do you spell hieroglyphics? Exactly, Dorks. I have no idea. It's hieroglyphics. Yeah. Anyway, um, I'll see you guys though. I'm gonna host another stream. Please don't go away. Please let me send you to another stream. I know. I got the timer up above my head because I thought we were gonna get to some of the. We did not. We did get through 2 leagues technically. We got through the end of the first place brew off deck, which was the Grixis Waste Not Wonderfulness. Oh, Evan's playing Titan Breach. I'm gonna go ahead and host over to Evan. Maybe you guys can give him an earful of me not being so successful with the deck as much as I wanted to. Evan's always a lot of fun. You guys know that. I know that. He's always cheerful. Oh man, it's my 9th month anniversary with Evan. I will be sharing that. I'm going to have you guys head on over to Evan's stream. I'll see you guys, though, on the next the Magic Guy. Should be as early as... I'm hoping to squeeze in one stream this coming week, and then at least one over the weekend if possible. But I will see you guys. I'll see you. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Have a nice night.
Hey, Sean, thank you for the